Om Bhurбhuvassuvaḥam Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yonah Prachodayantam.
Namaste everyone. So we continue our videos on a really great, maybe even greatest book ever written about Kriya Yoga meditation tradition, and that is of course Autobiography of a Yogi by Paramahansa Yogananda. And okay, in our previous videos we actually already started to discuss maybe the most interesting question, which is about Mahatma Babaji, immortal Himalayan master, who is actually the main source and actually magnet for the Kriya Yoga meditation. Most of the people, most of the meditation practitioners choosing exactly Kriya Yoga meditation because mysterious and great Mahatma Babaji is the source of all that wonderful and perfect techniques. As probably you know that in this book, Autobiography of a Yogi, the first edition, first publication, it was back in 1946, and that was exactly the first time in the history of our culture when public openly came to know about just existence of that great Mahatma Babaji. And that was a very special Yogananda's mission, to share with this information, to bring this message to the esoteric and spiritual seekers, practitioners all over the world. Let me also remind you that Yogananda actually was born in the very end of 19th century in India, and he was born as the Hindu. And in 1920 he immigrated to the United States with a special mission, and that was a huge difference between Yogananda and other immigrants to the United States, because the reason why he chose to immigrate was not because greater social or material financial chances in the United States, already actually that time it was like that, but because he originally went to the United States with a special spiritual mission, to bring message of Kriya Yoga meditation, message of very special philosophy, oneness between Vedic and the Biblic tradition. Later on, actually Yogananda himself became Christian and actually united even a strong and a deeper Vedic and Biblic wisdom. He left his physical body, it was 1952. And he was very special incarnation himself. He was messenger from the Himalayan masters, Himalayan Mahatmas, and exactly this book, his own autobiography, was actually the source from which people all over the world came to know about Mahatma Babaji. So, but anyway, in the second half of 20th century and now in the 20th century, we have huge number of books, videos, lectures, seminars, different gurus, masters, both Oriental and Western, they speak about Mahatma Babaji more and more. Some information about Mahatma Babaji is really interesting and important, but some of course confusing. And in this video and also in some of my previous videos, actually I'm trying just to read this great book, and just in front of camera analyze and just discuss the information and the message which we have in this book. So this video is based on material from the chapter number 34. Let me remind you my 3 previous videos based on previous chapter 33. But so we continue our investigation. We have a number of sources about Mahatma Babaji, and that's by itself extremely important, because when we just mentioning about immortal Himalayan masters, that kind of many even meditation practitioners approach this information just in the pure madness. And of course I may understand it, because our day-to-day experiences are totally different. Our friends, relatives and neighbors dying, and it seems that even idea of physical immortality is just somebody's fantasy. We can't believe and accept it. But please guys, be open-minded. Even if you see that people around you are actually dying, and I hope in a certain age, but I mean to say, even if you never met somebody who is immortal, please remain open-minded, because even if you don't know or never met somebody who is physically immortal, still there is a chance that such a yogis can exist. And basically we have so many witnesses who people mostly it's practitioners of Kriya Yoga tradition, but sometimes even not only from Kriya Yoga, but people still sometimes may meet Mother Babaji quite personally. And also in our previous videos we spoke about some other immortals. Actually we have a long list of names, and we know also Goraknath Babaji, then Nagaraj Babaji, then Agastya Muni, then Matsyendranath. So actually we have many names and a lot of details about life of that so-called immortal master. So it's a quite serious information. Of course, physical immortality is not goal of spiritual life and the spiritual evolution that I wish to repeat again and again. And please forgive me if I just repeat it again and again, because the main point of meditation and spiritual path is what we call as the self-inquiry in Sanskrit, that is Atma Vichara. So self-inquiry is the main point, and on the very high top level of this enlightenment or self-realization, God realization if you wish, as a result, this huge, amazing and unbelievable experience of transformation of the physical body as well happen. So it means, let us be not confused with this even idea of physical mortality, because that's not the point. The point is self-inquiry, to discover, to awake absolute divine consciousness in your heart. But on a certain level, your physical body also going to be transformed, and that's the reason why we have a lot of stories about so-called rainbow body, golden body, when different mystics from Kriya Yoga tradition, Tantric tradition, and a Buddhist tradition as well, and a Taoist tradition, by the way, they experience this golden body or rainbow body. Okay, Yogananda himself, he met Mahavtar Babaji so many times, but in his book he is mentioning only about one such a meeting, and it's happened just before Yogananda started to the United States. But many yogis with whom Yogananda, when he was himself a young lad, a young boy, he met all that yogis. They also told him so many wonderful stories. For example, Yogananda himself was in the beginning learning Sanskrit language and Kriya Yoga meditation from Swami Kebalananda. That was actually, as you remember, that was actually before, slightly before Yogananda met his main guru Sri Yukteswar. And Swami Kebalananda himself, great Sanskrit scholar and spiritual master, Kriya Yoga's master, and Swami Kebalananda spent a long time in the end of 19th century there in Himalayas, with Mahavtar Babaji. So it means Swami Kebalananda, the Sanskrit tutor for Yogananda, young Yogananda, was himself also a witness for all of that. And of course, the main source, information in our age about Mahavtar Babaji is so-called Lahiri Baba, whom we sometimes call the father of Kriya Yoga. Lahiri Baba, let me see, as far as I remember, yes, right, he was born 1828, and he left his physical body, Lahiri Baba, 1895. And actually, exactly, Lahiri Baba was the main source, in our age, the main source of information about techniques, Kriya Yoga meditation techniques. And he was a direct disciple of Mahavtar Babaji. I think that we have sometimes a huge confusion about this difference. Suppose if you're lucky enough, and actually nothing to do with the luck, it means you are ready. If you, let us say, already met Mahavtar Babaji. For example, you met Mahavtar Babaji, you saw him, you got certain blessings. That's the one step, the first step, which is by itself huge. But to become disciple of Mahavtar Babaji is like kind of totally different story. And many people, unfortunately, confusing just meeting with Mahavtar Babaji, which is, let me repeat, huge event by itself, and a totally different question and a totally different level is to become disciple of Mahavtar Babaji, because that's not so easy. Well, according to the tradition, you may approach certain great master and receive certain instructions and even blessings, but to become disciple you have to be much more ready than just meet him. And because in our time, end of 20th century, beginning of 21st century, there are many people who are proclaiming that they are direct disciples of Mahavtar Babaji, and that's slightly dangerous tendency when now everyone ready to speak about a special mission from Mahatma Gurus. I mean to say we have to be more careful. But anyway, in 19th century, exactly, Lahiri Baba was for sure direct disciple of Mahavtar Babaji, and basically that's the main source and the point of information about immortal Babaji. You know, that's very interesting that Lahiri Baba, 19th century, Kriya Yoga meditation master, he was family guy, and he was a counter, and he was working for the British military forces office, etc. And I'm sure you remember that in 19th century and the first half of 20th century, India was a part of British Empire. And actually that by itself a huge lesson, because so many people think that family life, including children and just office job, is a huge obstacle for the meditation. But strangely enough, it was not so for Lahiri Baba. He was father of 5 children, 2 sons and 3 daughters, and he was just a counter. And that was not an obstacle to practice meditation and to become the greatest saint of his time. And anyway, it was 1861. That time Lahiri Baba was actually 33 years old. He met Mahadar Babaji, and chapter number 34 is actually dedicated to this historical meeting, which is I think one of the most unbelievable chapter in this great book. And the title of this 31st chapter goes like that: Materializing a Palace in the Himalayas. Well, cool title, and the story is also huge. So somehow, of course, I'm not going to tell you all the details of this case story, because the proper way is if you will read or maybe reread this chapter and the whole book by itself. But let me just discuss some small details which can be very useful in our spiritual investigation on Babaji. Well, at that time Lahiri Baba was already a family guy, and he was working in some military engineering department, British Army, for British Army at that time. And he was staying in his life, in the different parts of mostly North India. And this historical meeting took place near Dronagiri Mount. Mountain Dronagiri. So we have exactly the place where the first meeting of Lahiri Baba and Mahadar Babaji took place. And according to this story, the Mahadar Babaji was just with the help of his supernatural power actually attracted Lahiri Baba to a certain place, and that meeting took place, happened, and that's a really sweet story, as you must probably remember, when immortal Mahadar Babaji in a young immortal body took 33 years old Lahiri Baba to the cave and told him, look, this is your yoga mat and other kind of things which you was using in your past life. Do you remember this cave? That's a very intensive experience. I believe that if right now you are interested in Kriya Yoga meditation and spirituality, for sure that's not the first lifetime when you are practicing. So that's very important that we are practicing from one life, from one incarnation to the next. And actually our spiritual evolution, that's not the question of just one life. It's a long journey, and I believe that nobody tell you for sure, okay, how many lives are you practicing meditation and mantras and yogic exercises, maybe 100, maybe 10, or maybe 1,000. But anyway, this connection between great gurus and, okay, great disciples, it's some kind of link which is very ancient one.